𝗍𝗿𝗶𝗲. Someone actually said that to me in that weird way a few days ago, and it has been the best thing that's happened, literally this year. It's another match preview. My name's Hal. You already knew that. We welcome you as we look ahead to Sheffield United versus Aston Villa, a 5:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. This match is on Sky Sports main event if you can't make it to the lane. United played some of the best football, scintillating one-touch stuff. Flicks, great movement, pace and attacking threat for 20 seconds against Crystal Palace. After that, it wasn't quite the same. But I think it's really easy to be pessimistic, despondent and generally down when things aren't going well. So that's exactly how I'm going to be. But let's try and find, and help me out in the comments, try and find 3 positives from the season, or at least recent positives. What can we think of? Let's do that. Pop them down below. Andre Brooks is good at kicking a football. This is a positive. The ticket price, 15 for adults for the Cup against Brighton. You know, a price which I think is fair and probably where they should be. Paul Heckingbottom has managed to get those crucial points, albeit on his driving licence. So, you know, we're taking positives where we can. I think that's a good thing. Of course, forget Paul Heckingbottom because Chris Wilder is the man at the helm now. Chris's middle name is John. His initials, therefore, CJW. If you Google CJW, you'll see a golf course construction company. And on the golf course is where some of our players have looked defensively this season. Let me give you the stats. United have now conceded 54 goals. Compare that with the other 2 sides in the relegation zone. Burnley have let in 42, still a disgrace, and Everton have let in 28. Now, I know what you're going to say about the points deduction, but I think it does highlight, maybe this is a better way of highlighting the terrible defensive errors. You know that awful season, 2021, a season that many of us called the COVID write-off season. Well, we conceded 63 in that entire season. We've still got 16 more games of this season. 16. God, what I'd give for 16 points. And actually, once we get to 12 points and officially beat Derby's 11, I think we should all have a little party. A pathetic, pathetic party. Speaking of pathetic, my ear thing has just popped out of that side. So there we go. Now I can hear myself, which actually I don't want to do because I'm saying things that I don't like. Let's look at the likely team news predicted lineup. 𝗍𝗿𝗀𝗏 went out of the Palace game with concussion. Concussion protocol may well come in after leaving the field against Palace and being replaced by Wes. You know, as I record this on Wednesday, the 31st of January, will Wes still be in the building come Saturday? Or will we see Adam Davies in between the sticks? You know, clean sheets and sick beats or whatever he calls himself. We know the long terms that are out for Sheffield United. Rhian Brewster is suspended, but we do have hopes when we're talking injuries over Tom Davies and maybe Max Lowe returning. So I'm going to give you what I think is the lineup that Chris Wilder will go with. Here is what I think, and I've used the Fan Hub app for this. If you'd also like to predict your lineup, and why wouldn't you? What a fun thing to do. You can join the Fan Hub community with the link in the description, or you can use the code SHG-YC5. Now, we got run ragged against Crystal Palace. Don't let the scoreline fool you. Stop being fooled by the scoreline, you. And I think with a back 4 in that game, it didn't necessarily work. So will Wilder change things? I mean, in overall, since his time coming back, in overall, that's a saying, shut your face. I actually think that 4 at the back has looked more defensively solid, but he may look at recent games, and we'll include Brighton in that. We have looked leaky. So will a 3 return? Will 𝗍𝗿𝗀𝗏 start up top, or McBurney? I think Archer plays against Villa. He'll be well up for it. But there's a chance that Archer is now going to be out of Chris Wilder's plans as he prepares for life next season without the front man. So, in goal, Wes or Davies or 𝗍𝗏. If 𝗍𝗏 has to sit this out with concussion, then it'll be, One of those two. Or 𝗲𝗍𝗂. What do I know? Bogle, Anel, Robinson, RND. Yeah, I'm going with it. I'm thinking Trusty has been slightly less than Trusty in recent games. So I think that might be the way to go. Jack Robinson has looked, good. Anel is the captain, so you expect him to start. I don't think he's played particularly well, but he is the captain, and it's very rare that you drop the captain. Bogle is playing better under Chris Wilder, and Reece Norrington-Davies needs to get those vital minutes in the legs, and I do think is a very, very good player. Sousa, Ben Brereton, Diaz, Harmer, I was debating how to say it, Brooks, McAtee, and I've already mentioned I think it'll be Archer. Look at that lineup and say it won't look like that. That's fine. It's just to get their names out there on the pitch. It's probably quite harsh as well. You probably think there's some players that deserve to play. Your trusties, your McBurnies. Right, let's talk about the opponents. Villa sit, as I'm recording this, fourth, having played 22, won 13, drawn 4, and lost 5 under Unai Emery. The last match was a home defeat, 3-1 against Newcastle United. Incidentally, Newcastle earned just their second away league win of the season, their first being, Sheffield United. Who can forget that game? I'd love to. Aston Villa were beaten at Villa Park in the Premier League for the first time since February 2023 when they lost that Newcastle game. That ended their 17 home game unbeaten run. I mean, we nearly beat them. It feels like only a few weeks ago that we were playing Villa. One of the quirks of the fixtures list. Now, in that Magpies match, Martinez started in goal. Of course, he used to play for Sheffield Wednesday and voted the best goalkeeper ever. Cash, Konsa, Lenglet, and Moreno in defence. I sound really European. McGinn, Kamara, a player I really rate, Luiz and Tielemans, Diaby, and Watkins, who did score in that Newcastle game. Emiliano Buendia, Tyrone Mings, both out. You've got John Duran and Pau Torres will likely miss out, but Lucas Dean and Jacob Ramsey could be back. Bertrand Traore has been away on international duty, scoring 3 actually at the Africa Cup of Nations with his nation Burkina Faso, but they have now been eliminated. The referee for this Sheffield United versus Aston Villa match is Paul Tierney from Lancashire. This season he's taken charge of 17 matches, issuing 64 yellows. That's a little high. 3 reds, 2 of which were second yellows, par for the course, and he's given 5 penalties. He last refereed United's League Cup defeat at home against Lincoln City earlier this season. That maybe should have been a sign, early in the season, because that was a game we should have, won convincingly, and we lost on penalties, didn't we? It was 0-0, dreadful game. So, player connections. Who can you think of that have played for both the Blades and the Villains? Paul McGrath, a Rolls Royce of, and one of the best defenders I've seen play for Sheffield United. It wasn't a long time, but it was a good time. Also not a long time, Tommy Johnson. I'll just say that because I don't know if anyone else will. Earl Barrett, I don't think anyone else will say him either. Pretty sure, yeah, Earl Barrett's go with that. And Lee Hendry. Ugh. So who can you think of? And a big shout out to our Patreons and members. I love you. Let's talk about stats, StatCat time, and Statsman Adam has sent me these. It is the 140th meeting between the sides. Villa have 64 wins with 41 for the Blades, which leaves, quick maths, 34 draws. In the last 10, the Blades have recent success, winning 4 to Villa's 2 with 4 draws, all those draws away from home. And let's face it, last month, could have won, and the 3-0 collapse. So we should have seen 6 wins from 10. That 3-0 still irks me and feels very, very fresh in the memory. But, unreal. Maybe it galvanised us to kick on for the rest of the season. Who can say? Now, Villa have lost only once in 7 away from home in all comps, and that was blowing a 2-0 lead at Old Trafford. Oh, actually, also the ghost goal as well. I'll throw that in. That was stupid as well. Discipline, an issue for both these sides. 66 yellows and 3 reds for the Blades, and 63 yellows and 1 red for Villa sees the teams, should we say, 2 of the top 3 or bottom. I prefer top. So, we're top of something. We're top of that league with Chelsea sandwiched in between. There have been 74 goals in the Villa's 22 games this season. So 44 and 30 conceded, and 73 goals in the Blades' 22 games, 19 scored, 54 conceded, as we've already spoken about. So over 3 goals expected in this one, which is why my prediction is a 3-1 Villa win. I'm sorry, I'm normally really positive. I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little worn over this season. Let me know your score prediction in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't yet, check out our audio podcast. Goodbye.